All right, young scholars, today is the last session where we're actually going to go through and work on some of these apps, do some modifications. As mentioned, next week, no class due to the Thanksgiving holiday. Then when we come back that week, the Monday, 11/27 and the Wednesday, 11/29, I'll have Zoom links here. But in essence, you're going to be meeting with your group members to put the final touches on your app that you've created and set up your presentation. So within this folder for that week, when we come back, I'll put in the 2 Zoom links for those 2 days. However, you don't necessarily need to attend. Just pop in and ask a question as you need to. And then, as I mentioned, that following Monday, the 4th, both groups will do their presentations. And then Wednesday, the 6th, there'll be some kind of extra credit activity if it's even needed. So for today, go ahead and download this 4 seasons animation.zip. When you download it, right click to extract all. You'll have your own specific folder of it here that creates that you can then open inside of Android Studio. So while you're going ahead and opening that so that it builds in Android Studio, I'm going to go ahead and basically walk you through what this app is intended to do. So in essence, we have this 4 seasons app. It only has a main activity Java file. However, it has a drawable animation file, which is influenced within the activity_main.xml layout file, which I'll touch on momentarily. In essence, what that activity main layout has is a simple image view where it has those 4 seasons of the images, and then a button that says change seasons. So just like so. And when you click on the button change seasons, it brings in that animation.xml. And it rotates between these 4 images. You know, fall, spring, winter, summer, etc. And it sets up to where there's a certain time aspect added to them. So 200 seconds. So if you were to go ahead and click that change season button, it kind of just bounces back and forth between the 4 images. And you'll notice 200 milliseconds isn't that long a time. Notice how they pop up, pop up, pop up, pop up, pop. So our goal for today is, instead of have it be just the 4 seasons, you know, spring, fall, winter, etc., we're going to modify our code such that our image will be set up to have basically an image that represents each month of the year. So let's say New Year's for January, Valentine's Day for February, St. Patrick's Day for March. I don't know. Is there any big holiday in April? Maybe we just have to use April Fools. May, probably Memorial Day. June, probably Flag Day. July, obviously, 4th of July. And I guess we could use Cinco de Mayo instead for May. What's in August? Any fun holidays in August? September, we could do Labor Day. October, Halloween. November, Thanksgiving. Christmas for December, maybe. So once you have that build open, the first thing we're going to want to do is open that strings.xml file in the values res folder. And instead of 4 seasons animation, we'll now call it 12 months of the year animation. And for the description, instead of seasons image, we could just say months image. And for the button, we could change it to say, instead of change seasons, just change months. So then when I sync that, our app name here, 4 seasons animation, will change. And the text for our button will now change. Okay. So our sync has worked. Now I'll go ahead and run. And now the name of our app has been changed, 12 months a year animation. And our button now says change months. But now we need to go ahead and first find 12 images to represent our months of the year. Before we do that, I want to go back into the activity main and show you that within the image view, we're not referring to any drawable. So what's going to happen is whatever our first image is going to be the first image that shows up in that image view. So right now it is this season 1 image. And that is what is set up in this animation.xml drawable file. So it first starts with the season 1, then the season 2, then the season 3, then the season 4. So let's go ahead and search for some images to represent our months. So, I mean, 2024, that seems like a perfect image for January. Instead of it being a web image, I'll save it as a PNG and hopefully it actually works as a PNG. Okay, good. Then for February, I'll save some kind of image associated with Valentine's Day and save that one as February. And then for March, I'll do St. Patrick's Day. And for April, I'll do April Fool's Day. For May, I'll do Cinco de Mayo. For June, I'll do Flag Day. For July, I'll do 4th of July. What about August? I don't really know the holidays in August. What do we have in August? So we have National Ice Cream Sandwich Day,
I looked it up,
National,
Saturday holidays.
which one is it? Didn't see any. So I pulled up these like kind of the fake holidays they have, like, oh, today's National Pizza Day. So I'm gonna probably pick one of these. Um, let's try National S'mores Day for August. I think everybody likes s'mores. So we'll do a picture of s'mores for August. Then for September, we'll do Labor Day. And for October, Halloween is usually the big one. In November, Thanksgiving is usually the big one. And then the big one in December is usually Christmas, that everybody thinks of when they think of December, or maybe New Year's Eve, but we use New Year's Day for January. So, so then once you've downloaded all 12 of your images, you now need to highlight all of them. Go into your app folder, the SRC for source folder, the main folder, res folder, and you check drawable. Oh, they're not in that one. Okay. So you have to go back and use that drawable version 24 one. And you see that the images are in there. And you'll paste them there. If everything works according to plan, when you go back into your Gradle build, you'll see that those 12 new images that you've added in should now be there. So then what we do within this animation.xml file is we're going to highlight those 4 rows that currently reflect the 4 seasons. The difference between the drawables is just the version. So when you go into your Gradle script and you see that the compile SDK is 32, the minimum is 23. So that means the minimum SDK this can run on is 23. So that version 24 means, okay, now I actually have to do, instead of 23, it has to be at least 24 in order for this to run properly. So you've seen in the past when these were much lower and we had to increase them in order for it to run properly. Technically, we could put it all in the drawable folder, but we want to have everything mesh when we build and have no compiling errors. So we make sure that everything is synced up and matches together. So we highlight it from that animation.xml, those 4 seasons right now. And then we paste it 2 times. So that now we have 12 lines here to represent our 12 months. So then instead of drawable season 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to have to modify those to match the name of our images. So for January, my image name is Jan. For February, my image name is Feb. So the image name you're going to put is whatever specific name you gave to your image that you downloaded. So for March, mine was Mar. For April, mine was APR. For May, I just did May. For June, I just did June. And the same for July, I just typed July for the image name. For August, I did AUG, Aug. What did I do for September? Sept for September. Oct. For October, I did. NOV for November, I did. And then lastly, DEC for December, I did. And you'll notice some of those images show up very clearly off on the side, while others don't. It's entirely okay. So you notice when we had this before that all four of the images are the same exact size. That's not the case with these 12 images we've downloaded. So when we file sync, assuming you have changed all the drawables to reflect the exact name of your new images, everything should work okay. And now when we run our new version of this app, those four seasons images are no longer going to be there. The first image that's going to pop up should be whatever image you saved for January. And of course, it's not going to load on us. There we go. So whatever your image you used for January is going to be whatever that first image is. Because like I said, within that activity_main file for this image view that we've set up, we haven't assigned any image. So it's relying fully on this animation list that we've created. When you open your main activity file, you notice that we've created an animation to be drawn within that content view that we set up in activity_main. We create a new image frame, which takes that IV seasons, which is our name of our image view, that implements what we have in that animation.xml file. And then our button utilizes the BT start that we created or named in our activity_. So that BT start just says change months. So then we need to create an on-click listener for it. What does it do when we click on it? Well, it starts that animation. So now that we've modified and changed our code to reflect our 12 months, when we click change months, it bounces back and forth between all of those months. And even though they were all different sizes of the images, you'll notice they're all kind of in that animation view pane there, based on the way we defined it within activity_main. So it's going to be 335 display pixels by 465 display pixels. And our horizontal bias and vertical bias, set it up to where it's right in this spot here. And all the images are going to be fit in that 335 by 465 display box, if you will. So again, if you haven't started on your app just yet, you're still contemplating some ideas, I'll use the same example. Somebody did the Pokemon thing for their app number 3. So in theory, if you wanted to do this for your app, I think there were like 256 Pokemon in the like red and blue games I played like 20 plus years ago. So you might want to set up your app to have your animation be all 255 of those Pokemon. And then you would go into your strings.xml file and you would change the app name to, I guess that was Pokemon Fire that I used to play, the Pokemon Red. So you might say, you know, Pokemon from Pokemon Red, and change this to Pokemon images, and change months to change Pokemon. And then all you would have to do within your animation.xml file otherwise would be to just go through and download images of all 255 Pokemon. Copy all of this so you have 255 of these item drawables. You need a duration. You know, they should all be set the same, so you bounce back and forth between. In this instance, it's set up at 200 milliseconds. And then you would just have to go in and change the specific names, you know, whatever number 1 was. Maybe it was Squirtle. And then, you know, Squirtle, then the 2 evolutions. Charmander, and then the 2 evolutions. And you would go down through the list of all 255. And then you would just indicate during your presentation, oh, well, you know, there were 255. So, you know, I did 100 of them. He did 100 of them. The other person did 55 of them, but then also modified the strings and made sure that our main activity was right, etc. Because you want each person to be doing an equal amount of work. So if you're the group of 3, you know, let's say that 250 gets split, you know, 255 divided by 3 is what? 80, 15, 85. So each might do 85, and then each go in and modify one of the strings. Okay, you've each done 33%. You each handled your weight. Whereas the group of 4, you know, that would be split a little different. So that would be 255 divided by 4, 60, like 64, and one would do an extra one. And then you'd break up that modification of the strings in such a way that would cover and continue to break up the work even. So this one is much simpler to modify if you're thinking in terms of, you know, what's the simplest thing I can work on when creating the app. Like I said, that's perfectly fine with me. I'm not looking for you to create like a brand new app. Like, oh yeah, here I created this new app that's going to overtake Amazon. like I said, you can create something basic based on what we've covered that's, going to run and that you can talk about. You understand what you created, what you did. And oh, well, that didn't take as long as I was hoping it would, but that's okay. So, as a reminder, I think there's still one or two of you that haven't submitted App 3. Get that to me ASAP. Otherwise, like I said, no classes next Monday and Wednesday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday with your family, friends. Get some rest. Come back ready to go the following week. Like I said, Monday the 27th and Wednesday the 29th, there will be a Zoom link. I'll be there. Pop in if you have questions related to your creation of your app. But ideally, on those 2 days, the group of three is going to meet together. The group of four is going to meet together. Make sure your app is all ready to go. Let's say on that Monday. And then when you meet together on that Wednesday, make sure that you're going to be able to give a solid presentation the following Monday. Thank you, Dwayne. And again, if you have any questions about the group project, all of the rubric, how you're going to be graded is in that 12-4 folder. So you'll notice technically the due date I have set up for 12/10. So if you still need to make some minor modifications on your app, even after you present, that's perfectly fine with me. You're basically just going to submit your code for the app. Because like I said, you don't really need a PowerPoint presentation. So you would submit it like this. You would right click your folder, compress to zip file, and you would submit your app as a zip file. All right, so if there are no questions on that, enjoy the rest of your day. And if you're on campus, heck, technically class is still on for another hour. You could start meeting today if you wanted to. And make sure that everything is on the up and up for your app and your presentation. Enjoy the rest of your week. Good luck with any major assignments your other classes have you doing to make sure that everything is in before next week. And like I said, if you have any questions, pop into that Zoom on the 27th, and I will see you then. Otherwise, feel free to send me any emailed questions between now and then. And as always, I'll pop up the recording onto Blackboard once Zoom has downloaded it, and I pop it up to YouTube.